With the patriotism of apple pie and the rebellious nature of white lightning, is there really anything more American than apple pie moonshine? Tastes like freedom, baby. Tastes like freedom. Hey, how you doing? I'm Caleb from Big Red's Authentic Shine, and today we're making some apple pie moonshine. And just getting right into it for you, here's what you're gonna need for ingredients. Number one, apple juice. Or, if you can get your hands on it, apple juice concentrate. Don't worry if you can't find apple juice concentrate, we're gonna be turning the apple juice into apple juice concentrate. The only thing to watch out for is make sure you get 100% apple juice. You don't want any added sugar because we want all of the apple flavor possible. Our next ingredient is going to be sugar, which may seem a little ironic because I just told you to get the 100% apple juice. Trust me though, the extra apple flavor is worth it. For sugar, you can either go with golden sugar or white sugar. It really doesn't matter that much. Golden sugar is just going to add a bit more of that raw sugar molasses flavor. With sweeteners, I'd also recommend getting a little bit of unpasteurized honey. Now to water down this giant concoction of sugar I've listed out, you're either going to want apple cider or hard apple cider. And it doesn't matter too much, but preferably make sure they're uncarbonated. You can either buy the cider or make it yourself. That's up to your personal preference. Personally, I had a little bit of hard cider laying around that I was about to bottle, so I ended up using it for the recipe. If you want to have the exact cider that I used for this recipe, you can watch this video. I show you how to make it. And spices. The single most important part of this recipe. They're what's going to make it taste like apple pie. The most important of all the spices are cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg. Next is vanilla, then allspice. Then personally, I like to add in a tiny bit of star anise. I strongly recommend going with the raw version of all these ingredients. So whole cloves, cinnamon sticks, whole nutmeg nuts, allspice berries, vanilla beans, star anise pods. Worst case scenario, you can use the processed version of these ingredients, ground nutmeg, ground cinnamon, vanilla extract, but just please try your best to use the raw ingredients. They're so much better. You're also gonna wanna pick up some apples. I was gonna do this with apples because I forgot to take B-roll of the apples, but I'm out of apples. Just pick up some apples. It doesn't matter too much what type of apple you get. Try and get something tart, just not Red Delicious or Granny Smith. They get kind of weird when you heat them up. Now would it really be apple pie moonshine without some booze? Today, I'm gonna be using some Sweet Feed moonshine that I made in this video and a tiny bit of rum that I made in this video. If you don't make your own booze or don't know a moonshiner, don't worry about it. It's absolutely okay. Just buy it from the store. Something like Everclear works absolutely perfectly. For reference, this entire video's recipe is in a 1-gallon jug. Okay, to start making our apple pie moonshine, we're gonna boil up 2 liters of apple juice. This is gonna need to boil for quite a while, so let's leave it for a little bit and go get some other stuff done. Into a bowl, add a couple cinnamon sticks, a few whole cloves, a few allspice berries, and the tiniest piece of star anise. Next, you're gonna take a cutting board and knife and turn half a nutmeg into a coarse powder. Not quite ground, but not big chunks either. You can imagine fancy pink sea salt or Montreal steak spice, whichever one you prefer. And then just add that into the bowl with everything else. Next, you're gonna wanna cut up your apples. It really doesn't matter how many you add. Personally, I did 4. Okay, with everything, it's been about half an hour. So let's go give that apple juice a check. Okay, with the apple juice, you're gonna let it keep boiling until it has half the volume of what you started with. Once that's happened, add in 2 cups of sugar. Let that keep boiling and make sure it is 100% dissolved. Next, we're gonna take our 2 vanilla beans, split them down the middle, scrape out the insides, and dump that into the mixture. And with the skins, you can just throw those in as well. Now, if there's enough space in your pot, right now you can also add in all your spices and sliced up apples. With that, we're gonna let the apple juice boil for the next hour and a bit while we go prepare the booze. Just make sure you stir the pot occasionally so nothing scorches. Into a sanitized, yes, sanitized, 1-gallon jug, add 750 milliliters or 1 liter of the booze of your choosing. Once again, for me, this is a little bit of Sweet Fiend Shine and some really estery rum. I do actually recommend adding a bit of rum for that molasses flavor, especially if you're not using the brown sugar. Okay, now with our spirit in there, we can add in our apple cider. Whether it's hard or non-alcoholic, I'd recommend adding in anywhere between 1.5 to 2 liters. Okay, now with everything kind of finished, you're just gonna chill out for a little bit. Relax, do your thing, maybe watch one of my videos. And once all the spices have boiled for at least 1 hour, take it off the heat. And if you'd like, right now is the time to add in a glob of honey, which is a super technical term, I am fully aware. Before we can do absolutely anything else, you gotta let your mixture cool down. You can let it sit overnight, you can put it in the fridge, or you can just leave it out for a couple hours like me. Just make sure it's not hot. It can be a little warm, but as close to room temperature as you can get it. And once it's cooled down, you can add it into your jug with everything else. The whole process was a bit of a struggle for me, but I'd recommend taking the apple chunks out and leaving the spices in. Now with everything in the jug, I sealed it up and let it rest for about 36 hours. It doesn't need to be very exact. You can do a day, you can do overnight, you can do 2 days, 3 days, whatever. It does not matter. You could actually bottle it right away if you wanted. I just wanted it to have some extra time with the spices. In the morning, once your apple pie moonshines had time to sit, I'd recommend giving it a taste test and seeing if you need to adjust anything. If it's too boozy, you can add in some more apple juice. If it's too sweet, you can add in some more apple cider. And if it's not boozy enough, add in some more booze. Once it's absolutely perfect, it's time to bottle it up. Personally, I'd recommend using jars, but I didn't have any on hand, so I ended up using some wine bottles. Just whatever you're using, make sure it's sanitized. If you didn't know, apple pie moonshine is a traditional drink of the southern United States, especially around Christmas time, hence my outfit. And there's 2 main ways to drink it. Number 1, warm, and number 2, cold. It's good. It's really good. It tastes like apple pie. You can taste the cooking spices. It's boozy, and you can tell it's boozy, but it's not overpowering, and it doesn't really bother me. It's also sweet. A little too sweet for my liking. I'm just not a big fan of sweet things, but it's not bad. Now I'm gonna warm a tiny bit of it up and see if it makes a difference. Okay, warm apple pie moonshine. It's hot as fuck. That is so much better than it was cold. And don't get me wrong, cold was great. It's just that by it being warm, it complements all of those apple pie flavors so much more. If you're gonna drink it warm. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.